Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the Voice of the People. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Every day I'm hustling. Hey,
Daddy, this a dollar.
You can take out that green jacket because I just took your bill. It's fly, you can't even set out an arena. The only reason you don't pay per view because you fight me. So you sit down somewhere. Sit down somewhere. You will not be fighting on pay-per-view off of me.
Yo, what up, people? What's up, man? I know a lot of y'all upset. I left y'all hanging for a few hours, right? We had this scheduled for 3, and we about 3 hours late. But that is the nature of the beast. There was a lot of phone calls that had to be made, and things that were going on in the background that pushed this spontaneous show back a bit, and we do apologize. They said Floyd time. That's right. Floyd and Pacquiao had us waiting this shit. Yo, that's funny. Floyd always got us waiting. Nah, man, this wasn't on purpose. Always working, man. Always grinding. So, yeah, man, we're here to talk about Errol Spence and the fact that he's saying he told Al Haymon, he says, and I quote, "I told Al Haymon I want Crawford after Pacquiao or else I'm moving up to 154. So I guess we're here to discuss that. We're here to discuss whether or not we believe the Crawford fight actually happens before he moves up to 154. That's what we're here to discuss. Will the fight actually happen after Pacquiao? If he beats Pacquiao, do they really get that fight for Errol? Can the Crawford fight actually become a possibility? Because obviously it's a fight that we want, and a fight that people believe can make some money. Right? People think that there's some big dollars, pay-per-view dollars invested in this fight. It gets talked about as the new Mayweather-Pacquiao. So it would be interesting to see, does Errol actually get to become Austin? Or is it Austin and Ignorant Boxing? Why don't you guys, who are obviously younger than me, why don't y'all fuck with me? You know what I'm saying? And help me start this Discord chat you speak of. And it's funny you say Discord because Discord actually connects to Patreon. Help me start it, bro. Listen, I'm a one-man team, bro. Even though there's a bunch of people, everybody's got their own thing. And, we grinding until we make it, man. They're going to offer Crawford 9.5, 0.5 split, and Crawford going to have to counter with 64 to his favor. Yo, you crazy. Pacquiao fighting Errol definitely messed things up for Crawford because, the whole percentage conversation, that shit is out the window at this point. Now you got to hope they give you a nice check. And maybe hope is a big word or the wrong word because people will be like, oh, he just don't got to take it. And it's true. He doesn't have to take the fight. You know what I'm saying? But you want that fight. And I don't mean you as Crawford. I mean you as the fight fan. We want that fight, man. So that shouldn't even be part of the sentence. But we got some super chats. Shout out to everybody that's showing some love, some super chat love. We Scarface right here. Solo Dolo, Scarface, no Manolo. Ness GTO, rocking out. We doing a damn thing. Who we got up first? It's looking like Ken Stone says, another of my prophecies correct. Spence will chase Canelo after Pac, but he'll do it right and move up gradually. to 168, picking up belts on the trip. I mean, ain't no way he getting Canelo if he going to do it gradually, you know what I'm saying? Unless somehow they going to be meeting at like 75 years down the line. I just don't really get it. But shout out to Ken Stone. We got what Repetition says, Crawford will never happen. Crawford fight will never happen. Both won't risk the O. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but I also see your argument, right? Because if you're Earl and you beat now Pacquiao, your possibilities at a Canelo fight are even greater. The marketability of a Canelo Errol Spence fight become even greater, easier, better. You know, it's so much more money if you beat Pacquiao. You understand? So you could be right. You know, this might, we don't know what this can lead to, but it's funny that he said he told Al he wants Crawford. It's not like he doesn't want Crawford. He's already instructed his team to get him Terence Crawford after this fight. But if they can't, he's moving up. That's the whole, that's what's going on. And really, the question is, do you believe that he will get an opportunity at Crawford before moving up? Or do you think that he'll become a 154-pounder and Crawford's opportunity at a shot at Earl, that ship has sailed? Has the ship sailed, so to speak? I dropped my Ivana Habazan prediction on Deontay Wilder. If you guys want to check that out, she made a prediction for Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3, the trilogy. You can check that right here on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/theboxingvoice, as well as my Andre Durrell interview where he is admitting that he was the one that convinced Mark Breland to throw the towel in. I also got a prediction video by Kyron Shut It Down Davis, who had a very tight fight with Anthony Durrell, not Andre Durrell, but Anthony Durrell, where many thought he won. He's given his prediction on Deontay Wilder as well. And, Keith Thurman, when we went to see Keith, he wanted me to put out this video for him. It's called Keith Thurman, How to Work the Heavy Bag Like a Professional Champion Boxer, because he feels that there are a lot of people, Raw Boxing, what up, brother? Check your inbox, champ. Check your inbox. So he believes that there are a lot of people out there that don't know how to hit the bag, man, that hit the bag poorly. So yeah, man. Check out those videos, man. I'm putting in some work, putting in some road work. I got a bunch of Michael Polite coffee videos that I haven't even uploaded. I haven't even taken them damn things out the computer yet, man. But yeah, man. TBV, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. It's going to help with the visibility of the show. It's going to put this show in the eyes of other people and let them know that we talk boxing multiple times a day. And today being one of those days where we did 2 shows. And this particular one, we're discussing Errol Spence's thoughts on whether or not he will get Crawford. This article could be found on Boxing Scene. And let me read you these quotes. Where we at? He says, once I get that belt, I told PBC head Al Haymon, I want that fight with Crawford. But if it doesn't happen, then I'll probably just move up to 154 pounds or something, Spence told Barbershop Conversations. I'm not going to waste my time trying to fight somebody who says they don't have any interest in me anymore. He don't want to fight me anymore. I most likely have 2 fights at 47. I'm going across the street. talk to Top Rank and see what they talking about. If they are not talking about nothing, I'm moving up to 154. After the Pac-Man fight, hopefully we can make something happen with Crawford. So at least he sounds like he wants to make it. You know, saying he's going to cross the street, saying he's going to see what they want to do and listen to their conversations definitely is saying something. You know, it shows interest for sure. Sorry, man. Type it in the background. It definitely shows interest by saying that, you know, he'll cross the street. He didn't say, I'm going to wait to see what they talking about. He said, we going to cross the street, see what they talking about, and, you know, see if we could get a fight. But, yeah, those are all the quotes. Shout out to Fred. Actually, I got a little bit more quotes, but shout out to Fred, you know, who got this interview. Earl actually just called into his show, like heard Fred live and called into his show. So, you know, shout out to Fred, man. Shout out to Fred for putting in that work. Let me... remember the number to call in, 142-569-5241. Press 1 time to voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline. If you want to call in and voice your opinion, use that cell phone, that landline, jump on the horn. We're talking Errol Spence and his interview on Barbershop Conversations, where he let us know that, you know, he is willing to fight Errol Spence. He's willing to make that fight with Terence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? As long as it could be made. As long as it could be made. And he said he's willing to call and cross the street. That's another thing. That's also showing a lot. So, you know. Looks like I'm gonna have a guest co-host on the line. Like I told you guys, I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be featuring some other YouTube channel podcasters on the show here, and you know, getting other people's thoughts and stuff on the sport. You know, just to mix it up a bit, see what works. What else we got? Let me go out to these phone lines, man, while we wait. We're talking boxing. Don't forget to share the show. Let people know. It is a spontaneous one. We're talking Errol Spence possibly making that fight with Terence Crawford before he moves up to 154. And the beauty is that he says he's told Al Haymon this is what he wants. And when we're reading the quotes, he's also said he's willing to cross the street and talk to them to see what he wants. Moore's House opened a very beautiful business. Hopefully he could sponsor us one day. He has a delivery business for marijuana in his respected state, which it's legal and recreation. And he started a delivery business that's taken him to new heights, but it's also made him very, very busy. But yeah, shout out to Moore's House for landing the perfect business, right? Without a doubt, you know. Hopefully we get a little sponsorship from Moore's House now that he's popping. I wonder what's the name of the delivery business, man. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and put the number in the chat for anybody that wants to call into the show. And in the meantime, we're going to open up these phone lines
Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
Subscribe to youtube.com/theboxingvoice for the latest and greatest interviews with your favorite fighters.
King Born, what up? We going out to Brooklyn. Talk to us.
When you see old dirty bastard fall in a position like that, then you know that I'm getting ready to bust your...
Yo. King Born here, King Born here. All right, we going out to my Jimbe. Talk to me. Are you guys copying me on Skype or are you just listening? All right, well, I'm going to go to the super chats. Let's see, we last left off on what? Rep It. And we got Jonathan Sims that says, no, not at 47, maybe at 54. The window, maybe at 54, the window. Because Bud's still on the top rank. Bud not in the position to negotiate. And I told y'all, Errol Spence Jr. holding the fans as of right now. What am I answering? No, not at 47. So you know the fight doesn't happen at 47, you're saying? Maybe at 54 is when it happens? Okay, maybe at 54 then. I don't know. I hope they make it happen, man. You know, 54. Does Bud even fight at 54? Like, he's going to be 30-something, you know, in a little bit. Does he even fight at 54? Austin, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Ness? Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Perfect, bro. Yeah, man. Shit, I just got off work, but I was gonna say, as far as that group chat, yeah, bro. I could get a Telegram started right now, and then you could just post it up on the channel. I'll get it started for you, bro. I know you're a busy man.
And you mean the Discord?
Discord, whatever you want, bro. You just let me know. I'll do the Discord, the Telegram, however you want it, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, let's talk off air. Hit me up on Instagram.
Fuck, bro. I don't got an Instagram, but you know what?
Patreon. Hit me up on Patreon. Message me on Patreon.
Big bet.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and introduce my co-host for a little bit right here. We got Raw Boxing TV. What's going on, champ? How you been?
Pretty good, man. Thank you for the invitation. Hopefully this comes out good. Just got out of work and... Oh, man, it's already coming out good. Look at that beautiful microphone you got. Such a sexy mic, man. You got if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. You know what I mean?
You got great taste in microphones, bro. You sound great. I was about to probably say beautiful would have been around, but you sound great. I wonder if that's how I sound to you.
We all sound good out here where we got good mics, man.
That mic sounds good, bro. So how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Just a bit tired. Just got out of a 12-hour day of work. You know how it is. Got to feed the family.
For sure. Are you from Florida?
No, man. I'm actually I live in Louisville, Kentucky right now.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
I used to live in Jersey City, New Jersey, and then I moved to Louisville in 2002.
Okay. Tri-state area guy. Oh, he got the coffee. I just asked my wife to make some.
Shout out. Wifey always hooking me up when I'm doing a live, bro.
Shout out. So listen, man, we're talking Errol Spence and the fact that he told Al Haymon he would like to fight Terence Crawford after the Manny Pacquiao fight, but he says if it doesn't happen, he's moving up to 54. So I guess the question is, do you think that it actually happens, or do you believe he'll move to 54 before it can actually happen?
To be real with you, as a boxing fan, I think it goes. I think it's obvious that as a boxing fan, I want that fight to happen. You know, who wouldn't like to see Terence Crawford in there with Spence Jr., right? But realistically speaking, man, just judging from the way things have gone down between both of them, I guess the ego of both of them, which, you know, it is what it is. If you find yourself to have a certain worth and you're not willing to budge and cut your worth to make a fight happen, then I guess that's what it is. But realistically speaking, I see him moving to 154. And to be honest with you, if he moves to 154, I kind of see a fight between him and Jermell being explosive too, being a hot ticket sell. You know, if Jermell remains at 154, but you never know. You never know. I would love to see him versus Crawford, but I don't think Crawford is gonna take less money to fight Errol Spence. I think he's gonna, you know, stay stuck at the 50-50 deal or the 60-40 in his favor or whatever the case it was.
Now, what about the fact that the rumors are obviously Crawford's contract is up in October, so there's, you know, those rumors that he'll be a free agent. Doesn't that help the situation in your opinion?
It helps the situation from a promotional point of view, standpoint. You know, now he's not tied up to another entity that might have animosity to the group that Spence is working with. But at the end of the day, remember, I know promotional companies have made us believe that they're the ones in charge, but at the end of the day, the fighter has to say yes. The fighter has to sign the paperwork. The fighter has to agree to, you know, either take a pay cut or take a 50-50 or whatever the case might be. So I'm just basing my opinion on the simple fact that these two fighters are not willing to, you know, take a step back. You know, that their ego is like, I want 60, you take 40, and the other one is saying the same thing. And I think that's the main thing that's going to prevent this fight, in my humble opinion, to be honest with you.
I mean,
regardless if they're in the same stable, it will have to take, say they're both with Al Haymon, Al will have to sit them both face to face, explain the situation, and do what Al Haymon does best, right? But ultimately, man, it's still gonna be up to the fighter.
Absolutely, totally agree. The thing is, do you believe that Crawford still believes he has a argument once Spence is successful with the Pacquiao? Like, because, you know, before fighting Pacquiao, yeah, all right, you want to make this case, you know, there's these radical Terence Crawford fans that say, well, he was undisputed, he deserves 50-50.
Correct.
Okay, but now this man beat Manny Pacquiao, ripped the torch from him. I mean, is there an argument? Shouldn't you just now take the fight at not whatever's offered? You want to be treated fairly. I want you to feel respected. I don't want you to feel belittled. But at this point, it's kind of evident who the freak is the A side. Like,
correct. But I mean, if you really look at the situation, even if you take Pacquiao out of the picture, say that the fight with Pacquiao was never announced, it's not a real thing. When you look at both fighters' resume, as far as competition level goes, I think Spence still has an upper hand on that. I think Spence has had the better resume if we want to take it down that road. So even with Pacquiao out the picture, Spence still the guy that has the better resume. Spence still the guy that fought Kell Brooks first. Spence still the guy that you know, in the hardcore boxing fans' eyes has had the higher quality pedigree, if you will. Now, I do understand what you're saying. Now adding Pacquiao into the picture, if he beats Pacquiao, then there really shouldn't be any argument. But man, you know, I'm not surprised that the argument will still remain. Because at the end of the day, I hate to say it that way, but I feel like Crawford is a bit delusional, thinking that he doesn't need a fight like a Errol Spence, thinking that he's cool by just continue to fight whoever it is he's going to fight. And he really doesn't. I mean, it's time to see Crawford at 147 with somebody like a Spence. You know what I mean? And if Spence doesn't come right now, hey, fight the guy that beat you in the amateur. Give Ugas a shot. That will be a good fight as well. You know what I mean? So
do I smell some Cuban heritage for this guy?
Hell yeah.
And
you know why I want to see that fight, bro? Because I think Ugas got mistreated on the Crawford fight. My opinion.
On the Crawford?
I mean on the
Sean Porter?
Sean Porter's fight. And I've always had this thing that as a boxer, if somebody beat me in the amateurs and now we pros, maybe I like to get that out the way and say, yeah, you beat me in the amateurs, but now I beat you as a pro, just to get that out the way, because why not, right? And can we deny that Ugas has positioned himself to be a top contender in the division? We cannot deny that. You know what I mean? So why not? If you ask me, Ugas is way better than Crawford's last opponent. That's just it.
Last opponent being Kell Brook?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kell Brook, but think about it. Kell Brook now is not the Kell Brook you and I have in our head.
No, of course.
The Kell Brook we're talking about now.
But the question still is this. Does that same Kell Brook that lost to Crawford, does Ugas beat him? Or is he still too much for Ugas?
I don't think he's too much from Ugas, just judging on what I've seen, man. And just judging on his reflex in that fight. It just wasn't the same Kell Brooks. I think Kell Brooks right now, I hate to say it, I might be a bit radical in this, but Kell Brooks is like 2 steps behind Amir or ahead of Amir Khan still as far as quality, but I think his level has dropped tremendously. I think he's taken unnecessary. I think the fight with Golovkin was the end of his career, the beginning of the end for him. But Kell Brook is not the Kell Brook you and I once knew, if you want to put it that way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a little bit of Cuban in there, but it's also a little bit of fairness. I think, I've been wanting to see Ugas with a Keith Thurman. I've been wanting to see Ugas with a Crawford. Why not? I've been wanting to see Ugas with anybody that brings a threat to his new status, because that brings out good fight. I don't want champs. I don't want high quality fighters to go into a comfort zone. I made it, so now I'm going to fight up positions that keep me at this level. I want to see a constant threat to your position, to your status, because that might be the tool that brings out the best in you, and therefore we as boxing fans might enjoy the fight.
For sure. Let me take this caller real quick. We're going out to Plainview, Texas.
BoxingVoice.com. Oloki, you are next, my friend. Por eso lo vuelvo a repetir. La era del Canelo es la mejor porque peleó con los mejores. La suerte es para los mediocres, my friend.
BoxingVoice.com. Supermax, what up?
What up, fellas? How y'all doing this afternoon? Good to have you on. Is it Raw Boxing Talk?
Yep.
Raw Boxing TV. Thanks, man.
Good to have you on, man.
Appreciate you.
I'm excited for this. Like I felt all along that it's been. Obviously, I'm an Errol Spence fan, so take that with a grain of salt. But I felt like Crawford's been dragging his feet, and I feel like now Spence has been talking about moving up for a while now. So now it's like the ball's gonna be in Crawford's court, man. At the end of the day, if this doesn't happen, we'll see who really didn't want the fight. And I also think that if Errol moves up to 154, that sets an interesting domino effect in play, because that would mean that would happen after Jermell possibly and potentially wins the undisputed title at 154. So he could go to 60. And we've all heard Jamal Charlo talk about potentially going to 68. Obviously Jermell and Errol aren't going to fight being out of the same gym. So now you have each of those fighters shift up a division, because I do believe next year you're going to get Jamal Charlo and Canelo. I think that happens at some point next year. So it's interesting to see, man, but I hope this is a fight we get. But with Crawford, you just can't tell. He's going to have to be really, really willing to accept a reasonable offer, which he hasn't said or given a hint to yet. But great show, fellas. That's my call.
All right, brother. Thank you for calling in. Looks like Jonathan Sims. What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. And how you doing, new guy? Thanks for joining the TBV family, man, and enjoy yourself. Just speak how you feel, dog. Everybody's not gonna agree.
Appreciate you, brother.
Ness, Ness, what I was saying in my super chat, the question mark was like basically what's the time frame or window, because as soon as Earl fights Pacquiao, Bud is still technically under contract. So, like, when is Earl looking to move up? Because if Bud is still under contract during that time frame, I just don't see that happening. And, I mean, to me, this is not new news. Like, Earl has said it all the time that, you know, once he collect all the belts, he would go fight Bud. But I don't think he would cross the street, meaning fight on ESPN or anything. Like, Bud's going to have to come to his platform. So I just think all this stuff that has to come into play, I just don't see this fight happening at 47. And it's unfortunate, but you know, I've been saying this for years at this point, that fight doesn't happen at 47. There's just too many nuances in the way for it to happen. Neither guy knows how to make the fight. So I don't even know why they're talking terms in public. They don't know what it takes to make the fight. And Earl said that himself. And we know Earl is in more of a position to negotiate than Bud. So I don't see it happening at 47. It's a good talking subject, but it's not happening.
So you foresee Earl going to 54 before this fight ever happens?
Absolutely. Think about it, Ness. If once Earl and Pacquiao fight, how long is Earl going to wait to fight Bud? And do you see Al giving Bud that fight without making him?
In the interview with Barbershop Conversation, he says he's got 2 more fights at 47. So it means once he beats Pacquiao, he's got, he literally said in the quotes, like, I'm going to cross the street. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to see what they talking about. So, for him, it's immediate. For him, it's like, as soon as I win, we're going to start negotiations.
Exactly. And he also said that he talked to Al about only fighting once a year. So he's going to try to fight that fight, I think, before the year ends. You mean to tell me Bob is going to allow Bud to walk away, knowing that Errol Spence fight is on the table and not force him to renegotiate?
But what about the contract being up in October? Like, everybody might be letting the pieces fall after that, you know?
Can it work like that? That's where you would have to educate me. Can it work like that? Is it October contract over or his next fight?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's October. Like, they have to provide him a fight by October. It's not your.
And let's say they do fight.
You can't just draw me out.
Right.
You can't just keep me in contract for years because you don't. You know, like, I'm sure that's not how it works.
Well, Bob's done that. Well, hasn't Bob done that before? Kept somebody under contract for years and didn't give
Mikey
him
turned the fights down. Mikey turned fights down because he didn't want them. Like, people usually turn the fight down and get mad at their contract for the price. And, you know, Bill told us that. What?
Right, so it's not one fight is ending in October no matter if he fights or not.
I'm assuming the Top Rank has to provide a fight by October.
Okay. I mean, and if you're right about that, then maybe, especially if he don't fight, but if he fights, say, in October, you mean to tell me Earl gonna wait around for another 6 months?
I mean, yeah, if Al tell him to wait around, if his advisor who's advised him to be a millionaire tells him, listen, it's better to do it next year when he's completely out of his contract with Bob, Earl's going to say, okay, Al, and ride off on a horse into the sunset.
Well, I know you know your stuff.
I mean,
so
no, listen, we're all hypotheticals here, man. This is all my opinion.
I mean, but you got more experience.
But I'm going to believe the dude that's guided me to this point in my career. If he tells me, yo, wait a couple more months, what the fuck is a couple more months? Like, I could keep that
I'm with you.
Off.
And I'm with you. I'm just looking at everything and how everything is transpired, and it just to me says not at even the guy that you like, Adrian, told you he didn't think the fight happens at 47. The one who wrote Dark Horse, go buy that book, by the way. It's a great book. Before I go, I just want to leave you with this last point in regards to that fight. I don't think either guy combined is as big as Wilder. So how is that fight going to happen, and what numbers do it do? Because I don't even think it does 800,000. I don't think the draw is there like they think it is.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I last time I said a number on the Earl pay-per-view, he stopped answering my phone calls, so I learned my lesson. You know, we'll see what it does, man. We'll see what it does. Do you have a pay-per-view prediction? Raw Boxing TV?
I think it all depends on how they manage this, how they promote this fight, because at the end of the day, these two fighters are very high on quality, and let's be real, man. I would think that every hardcore boxing fan and some casuals would love to see this fight. Now, 800,000, maybe stretching it. I'm in the books of more like, the 650, 700. But with Al Haymon, you just never know. Is it going to be bigger than the Wilder Fury? Absolutely not. I mean, heavyweight's always been the icing on the cake for boxing, especially now that it's so explosive, so full of drama. We had, but these two fighters signed that contract and the fight is announced, and you start, doing what we used to do back in the 90s and early 2000s, putting billboards, putting the fight in milk cartons and just promote it out,
Milk
and you never know, man. Yeah, you never seen that in New Jersey and New York area?
A fight.
So you remember?
On the milk
Okay,
carton?
so you remember the? I don't know if they still sell it out there or not. The little juices that had the aluminum peel, and some of them were like
quarter juice.
Right. Even in the boxes when you bought the 6-pack, there was Tito Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya's a fight being promoted in them cartons. I remember all of that, man. Billboards in Hoboken, New Jersey. Billboards in Meadowlands. I mean, so it's they don't do it anymore, but it was effective back then. I don't know why they stopped, man.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they don't promote anymore. They don't promote anymore.
And it doesn't cost that much, Ness.
Well, I mean, that's what we don't know. We need actual paperwork on what it costs. Like, how much does it cost for a press conference, right? Because I was having this conversation with myself earlier on my earlier show. Like, Jamal Charlo and Montiel's nephew didn't get a press conference. They got a virtual press conference. So in my opinion, it's like if Wilder wasn't going to talk at his press conference, why not give him a virtual press conference and save that money? So my question is, how much does it cost to invite the media out, fly the fighters out, plus their entourage, plus get them a hotel, plus have food for the media, plus rent a venue, plus hire a dedicated internet service to come and put internet for your live stream? Plus.
Correct. I agree with that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as far as like it's probably going to cost you $1,200 a month to have a billboard up. You see what I'm saying? Put billboards up.
But you're talking about one billboard in one city. How many cities do we got there?
No,
so
now
I'm
talking about take the biggest
times
city.
10.
Take the biggest city and
LA,
activate a couple billboards.
LA, New York, where else you want one?
LA, New York, take it to Vegas, take it to why not Miami? Because at the end of the day, it's not just as far as like getting the people in there. It's just letting people know when the fight's going to take place, which fight's going to take place, and they might buy the pay-per-view,
I'm sure in this day and age, there's got to be some sort of statistics and analytics to let a Bob Arum or whatever promoter know how many eyeballs will see your billboard. But you also got to understand, I mean, you're in Kentucky. How big is it? How many billboards do you need in Kentucky? So it's not just 1,200 per city in 3 cities. It might be 5 billboards in Kentucky, or rather, you're not a big city. You're not a major poppin' city. So we need 10 in New York, 10 in Los Angeles, 10 in maybe Vegas. That's a lot of money. You're talking about $1,200 a month. You know what I mean? Multiple cities. It's a lot of money. Then you got to ask yourself, how many conversions do you get off of all that money?
But you also got to know this too, man. It's like, excuse me. You just went through everything it takes to throw a press conference, right? That ain't gonna be no $30,000. Everything you just explained right there. Shoot, we're probably looking in the 150, 200, maybe 300,000 mark.
That's a lot. I would say definitely they could keep a press conference under 100. I think 100 is excessive, right? Because like the biggest expense is going to be hotel and flight for the fighters and the people.
Bro, but these fighters and their entourages are divas, bro.
No,
they not going to want no cheap stuff.
And they don't get it. I get you. Wilder and Fury probably receive very beautiful hotel rooms and first-class flights.
Correct.
Maybe Bob. See, Bob is different. He owns a jet. So it's all about how much it costs to fly Fury somewhere on the gas. But Bob probably was on the same jet because he lives in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? So Bob probably saved a little bit of money. But I get you. I'm not trying to.
No, I know what you're
wrong.
saying.
I want more promotion. I believe we need more promotion. I think you're right. I just think we have to learn how to properly spend the money. Like, we're in a different generation, right?
Of course.
20 years ago, maybe billboards were popping, and right now, maybe they could spend the same amount of money, let's say $30,000 on Facebook ads or YouTube ads that follow you around versus a billboard that you might not drive past. Let me get to a phone call here. Looks like we got Info Joe in California. Joe, what do you know?
Let's go!
Smoke with you. Come on.
Info Joe is a beast. Checkbox red. Undefeated punchlines, better place your bet. The number one call, fought my way up the ranks. Border wars fighter, going hard in the paint. Boxing scene writers call me spectacular.
Yo, what's up, my boxing brothers?
What up, Joe?
What's up?
Hey, yo, call me Info Damas. I said this earlier this year on the show. This is going to be Earl's last year at 147. Now, I'm a be optimistic. I'm a hardcore from the top to the floor. And I think this is I think this fight will do well than more people think it will do, man. I think if it is promoted right, we've been talking about the fight for the last 2 or 3 years. If it's promoted right, I think it won't do as good as Fury and Wilder, but I say a good 8 or 9, man, which ain't bad in these times. I do believe if Crawford's contract is up in October, man, then be optimistic, man. We can get the fight at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I think it can happen. Yeah. So shout out to the boxing guys, man. Y'all got to, try this, putting all our brains together, man, putting this force up to the boxing guys, man, and this shit will happen, y'all. Stop being so negative. You know what I'm saying? I know this fight will be watched worldwide by every hardcore boxing fan, right? So the hardcores co-sign what's right and what's good and what's not. So we sell it to the casuals, it'll go, man. You know what I'm saying? The fight will sell itself. But I'm hoping that Crawford gets out of the contract, he becomes a free agent, and this can happen, though. But that's all I got, champ. Good show. Peace.
All right. That's what I'm rooting for, man. Become a free agent. Maybe get a fight with Mikey on Dazn. See what Eddie will offer you. Let people pump you up. Let people build you up. But I'd like to introduce a longtime friend, D-Style Boxing's been around the community doing the podcast and YouTube thing for a while. He's got his own YouTube show called Hispanics Causing Panic. What's going on, champ? How are you?
I'm doing really, really good. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
What up,
perfectly.
D?
Oh yeah, what's going on, guys? Just thought I'd jump on, and thank you for the invite, Ness.
Oh man, anytime, brother. So obviously the topic that we're discussing is Errol Spence telling Al Haymon he wants Terence Crawford after the Pacquiao fight, or else he's moving to 54. So the debate and the question is, do you think it'll happen at 47, or does he move to 54 before it can actually happen?
I want to be wrong. I'll start off by saying that. I want the fight. I want undisputed 147 pounds. I want Crawford versus Spence. That's the fight people want to see, okay? No doubt about it. But do I believe it's going to happen? No, I do not. I do not believe it's going to happen. I don't want to be the guy that tells everybody Santa's not real. I just think it's highly unlikely.
Why?
What's that?
Why?
I just think Crawford's ego is a little too high, brother. He wants too much of a cut. He's too prideful to take 40%. He's thinking in the sense of I'm pound for pound. I was undisputed 140 pounds. He's looking at it from a accomplishment, position. Like if you remember, Sergio Martinez never understood why he was the B-side against Cotto. If you remember that face-off, he was like confused, and he was like, "Do you really believe that I'm a B-side? Look at what I've done. I'm the champion. I'm this. I'm that." But unfortunately, in boxing, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to see it, that's not how it's based. And right now, Crawford at 147 just doesn't have any equity to show. He doesn't have any numbers you could show, put on the table. But look, when I was on pay-per-view, I did X amount, right? Spence is about to fight Pacquiao, man. That's going to be a pay-per-view extravaganza, bro.
Well, isn't that the thing? Like, once he fights, and if he's successful and defeats Pacquiao, wouldn't like the other side just be like obviously they're like concede, like, oh, that's it. You know, he beat Pacquiao. It's over. Like, there's no argument anymore to A side, B side, right?
Well, I mean, it's whether we like it or not, there's always going to be an argument for A side, B side, like whether we like it or not.
Come on, D-Style. If you beat Pacquiao and you have now 3 belts, what argument does Crawford have?
Crawford has pride, bro. He's got an ego. Like, he's a prideful man.
I know, but won't the win make him realize that
no, because you know what he's going to say? He's going to say Pacquiao was old. He was 42 years old.
He was just trying to fight Pacquiao in Qatar. The fight fell through their fingers. What you mean? He was old and he was good enough for him. Why isn't he good enough for Earl now?
Ness, you're thinking logically. Okay, like Crawford, it doesn't think logically, brother. Like, he's thinking in terms of like what he is as a fighter. He believes that his skills, his accomplishments, where he stands in pound for pound, is what holds weight.
D-Style is telling you from Crawford's perspective, but pretty much.
Yeah, like you're thinking in a like Crawford's not thinking that way. He's not going to say that. Oh yeah, well yeah, it's true. I was trying to fight Pacquiao and you got the fight, so congrats to you. Now, you know what he's going to say? He's going to say, well, Pacquiao didn't want to fight me because he knew what time it was. He thought you were the easier fight. That's why he fought you. That's what he's going to say.
I don't know. I think that Crawford, I want to believe anyway, that Crawford is going to start to smell the roses once he's out of his contract. You know, it normally it gets like that. You know, Mikey, everybody gets to spread their wings. I got a super chat here from Texas Bulldog Boxing, $2 super chat that says, "No way out for Bud or Bud Tenders." So we also got some phone calls. Let me go out to David Maldonado, New York City. What's going on?
Yo, what's going on, brother? Yo, the last guy, Info Joe, man, that dude got positive energy. And the gentleman you just had right now, he said some real stuff. And I got to agree, man. First of all, as a boxing fan, I hope that fight happens. But I'm not trying to be negative Nancy or nothing like that. But we're not going to see that fight. Right now, we're in a generation, and this might hurt people's feelings. You don't see 2 black elite fighters fight each other no more. Just like you're never going to see Tank versus Shakur or Tank versus Devin Haney or Charlo versus Andre. Crawford and Spence is never going to happen, bro. We living in a generation where everything is about Spanish against blacks, Mexicans against Europeans. That's what it is, man. That's why I'm hesitant to say that this is the new Fab Four, because back then they all fought each other, man. And it's sad because I personally think Crawford beats everybody at 147 except for Boots Ennis. And
I wonder why heavyweights. Why don't you need to match a heavyweight with like a Mexican? Heavyweights could be any fucking, you know, from anywhere.
Because there aren't that many Mexicans in the heavyweight division. That's why. There aren't that many, bro. That's the reason why in the heavyweight you get a lot of Europeans, you get blacks, you get UK guys. But that's different. You're right. The heavyweight division is different. But from the middleweight division down, dog, those fights ain't happening, bro. Tevin Farmer and Gervonta Davis should have been happening.
I definitely agree with that, man. You better start running. They coming. Listen, I agree with that. You know, you can tell. You can tell that they have that Mayweather green print with Gervonta Tank Davis. It's always a Latino fighter versus him, and they avoided Tevin Farmer, which I don't understand why. Being honest, like, you know, Tevin gets mad at me, but I would have never not picked Tank, especially now in retrospect, watching Jojo Diaz do what he did to Tevin. It's like, why they never gave Tank that fight, which was a little pay-per-view all in its own. They built that up themselves so beautifully. You know, they should have just gave those guys that little bone. That being said, we got another caller, brand new caller. It looks like San Antonio. Who's this?
Big T, San Antonio, Texas.
Big P?
Big T, T as in Tom.
Big T, what's going on, champ? Talk to us.
Hey man, I just wanted to get on and tell you, man, you're doing a great job, Bigness. I'm listening every day, brother. But on to the topic. Very important. I know that Derek James and the Charlo brothers and Errol Spence is very happy because they're in a great position. I mean, for Errol to go for three belts, and then for Lil Charlo to possibly undispute. They all lined up to move on up. But one thing that we forgetting, and we're not really giving. I haven't heard anybody really talk about it. Was maybe Bud is sitting back and holding. Really, Bud is holding a really important piece, because let's say Errol and Bud don't make the fight, and Errol move up to 54. Your boy can wait for your boy Bud can wait for the undispute to happen, and then move up and challenge with his belt to almost become a mandatory, and maybe try to fight for the belt. And imagine if he takes the undispute from Little Charlo or whoever he fighting, then he'll be holding all the cards for Errol to come up, and then the cat and mouse game starts all over. So man, it's a lot of things that could happen in boxing, and I'm just excited to see what happens. I'm happy that it's back, and we're gonna see what's cracking.
Let me just be clear. So you're saying that there's a possibility that you believe Crawford moves up to 54 to challenge Jermell Charlo, beats him, and is waiting there for Earl with all the belts?
And I mean, in an alternate reality, it could happen.
Oh, all right. No, listen. Optimistic, and it is also slightly realistic. I remember a time when Patrick Teixeira had the WBO, and I was begging Crawford to move up to the WBO 54 division and take that belt from Teixeira. He did not do that. He said that was beneath him. Then later we found out he was trying to negotiate with Teixeira to get that belt. Teixeira eventually had to fight Castaño. Castaño beat him, and now we're here with the undisputed title match with Jermell Charlo. But in theory, guys, I guess Crawford, as a undisputed champion and a current reigning, defending WBO champion, can call upon the WBO to maybe mandate him to fight Jermell at the weight above. Kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Canelo was going to do to Billy. The WBO has that rule. Demetrius was going to do it to Billy as well. I guess, in theory, Crawford can activate that WBO rule. Do you think he does that?
You know what? I'm going to say that if he has no other options, he might. Like he might believe in himself enough to do that. And I have no idea. I haven't thought about it. I haven't broken it down in my head who would win. But I could see Crawford trying something like that. The only problem is the other side of the street thing. Like, can that happen? Like, he's going to have to get out of the Top Rank contract.
Honestly, I'm being very optimistic that October it's over. Like, Bomac has been saying that shit for over a year, that they would be out of it in October. I don't think that he put it out there so early to then come back and re-sign. He sees that they fucked up. Like, do they need more evidence? Raw Boxing TV, do you need more evidence? Like, you didn't get me the Pacquiao fight and Earl got it in lickety split. No headlines. Oh, Earl's trying to get money from Qatar. It's right away. You're not fighting Crawford? We won it.
Boom, and got it.
Fucking Thanos snap, bro. Thanos snap. Boom.
Well, see, the thing is, there's
and
also...
then Pacquiao tweeted out and put it on social media.
Exactly.
You know what I
mean? Correct. And the thing is also, man, it's like, if you notice, Crawford, in my opinion, Crawford has made a financial mistake by now buying himself out of that contract sooner. Okay, I've been saying that all along. I'm like, man, just based on the history of Bob Arum with a few great boxers that have actually taken the steps to invest in their future by buying themselves out of that contract, man, that would have been a good move. Yeah, it might cost you, I don't know, 500,000, 700,000, whatever the case might be. But how much better can your future be? Think about it. Where will Mayweather be today had he never taken that step? Right? That's one of the greatest examples you.
Mayweather's different. He took 30% versus Oscar. These dudes never would do that. He did what Crawford won't do. He did what Crawford said he won't do.
You're correct. What I said, Ness.
Correct, but it's like it goes back to what D was saying and what I told you earlier. Is that ego that I mean, think about it. Mayweather was B-side versus De La Hoya. Canelo was B-side versus Cotto. There was a level of, although I believe in myself, I'm going to be humble enough to make this sacrifice so that I can jump ahead. That's where me and D-Style agree that I don't think Crawford is there yet. And I think it's sad because it's preventing his future from being bigger than what it is. But that's just what I think about Crawford right now. And that has nothing to do with his level of skills. I think he's one of the best boxers I've ever seen. But it's his mind, where his mind is set.
And just to kind of piggyback off of that really quick. Remember, I mean, can you picture like Crawford giving a fighter like Gotti the A-side? No, there's no way. Mayweather did it for Gotti, because he knew he was going to beat Gotti's ass anyway. He wanted to get on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Crawford has to make a sacrifice, man. It's the way it is.
Absolutely. We got Count Drago with a super chat that says, $2 super chat, whoever gets the W over Pac-Man is the A-side. Hashtag facts. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I want to shout out Crystal as well. I think Crystal Silverheart, you became a member, right? Let me see who became a member. I believe it was you, Crystal. So shout out to you for joining the members gang. And we also got another super chat. Yes, Crystal Silverheart, welcome you to the prospect level. Let me go ahead and ring the alarm for that. Uh-oh, we got another member. D-Style. Oh, shit, D-Style. D-Styles just became
I got an explosion and everything.
Hell yeah. We got a super chat from Matt Machine Gun, but you retracted it. Uh-oh, you must have said something naughty. But we'll shoot the machine guns for you anyway. We going out to New York City. Keith in Brooklyn. What's up?
What's up, Ness? You can hear me?
Yes, sir, brother. Talk to us.
All right, cool. So I pretty much agree with the other host. I forgot his name. My bad. But Crawford pride is probably one of the biggest setbacks for him. For the simple fact that I think actually after the Pac-Man win, or for the Spence, it's going to make him don't want to fight him even more because he knows he's going to demand more. Crawford is living off the undisputed 140, so he believes that he's the pound for pound. He should get at least half or more. So I don't think anything Errol Spence do, Al Haymon, that's going to make him agree to 60-40 or 70-30 split, regardless of how many belts Spence have. Nothing. So I don't think the fight's going to happen. I'm optimistic about it. I'm hoping that somehow Al Haymon work his magic and they figure something out in the back end or whatever, but I just don't see a fight happening because Crawford pride. And that's sad because that's a big, big fight. I think that's probably one of the biggest fights in boxing to make right now. With exception to heavyweight, obviously. But there's no other fight right now that's as big as these two. That's
how many pay-per-view buys you think this does? Because everybody talks about how big it is. I just, where's the numbers at?
I think 900, over 900. Wow. Easily over 900, I think.
Big talk there.
That's a big fight. That's a very big fight. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But I'm hoping that it happens because it'll be a shame that such a big fight like that don't happen.
Shout out,
that's
brother.
My call, man.
Thank you. We got Stan. What does this say? Senslyle? I have no clue how to pronounce that name, sir. But Bob said Bud might be fighting in November. That's the $1 million question, guys. We're going to get to this right now. We got D-Lo with another one. Says, there is no Oscar in the equation, fellas. Yeah, that's what people like to say. Oh, Earl ain't Oscar, so why would he take 30%? Dog, keep thinking he not. He the only fighter ever in fucking history. Look, I actually got D-Styles who used to do like a history show, I believe, a few years ago. So maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Do you know another fighter? Oh, shit, I need my Jeopardy beat. Where the fuck is my Jeopardy? Do you know another fighter in fucking history to ever do 4 straight pay-per-views and win? Actually win. Not take a pay-per-view, not take a Showtime or HBO fight in between with Sean Bay Mitchell like Floyd. Not take a Stevie Forbes. No, Pay-per-view. As soon as you get on pay-per-view, you just pay-per-view, 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 non-fucking stop. No man in history has ever done it that I know of, but I'm not a history buff.
You're saying that's what
Earl's doing.
Spence?
Yeah, no one's done what he's done. Not even Canelo. He lost to Mayweather. No one's done. Right. No one's been a consecutive pay-per-view star.
Floyd.
No. After Gotti.
No, because Floyd took intermediate fights outside of pay-per-views too.
After he fought Gotti, he didn't didn't do a pay-per-view again. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. No one has done it. I see what you mean. Okay. No one has done it. Not even Canelo, because Canelo's first pay-per-view.
A bit of a technicality, but I got you. Right.
I think Canelo's first pay-per-view was Floyd. He lost that. Then they did Angulo on pay-per-view and Laura on pay-per-view. Then he went off pay-per-view. Earl started on pay-per-view with Mikey, ain't looked back. Even in
he has
accident,
remained pay-per-view.
Even with the accident, they said, fuck it, let's roll the dice. Pay-per-view again. Now this one, pay-per-view again. He's making
And he
history.
did good.
No, well, I mean,
here comes another pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
Another
Pacquiao,
Yep. Let's see.
But and here, what I want to say really quick. Mm-hmm. Yes. So Earl isn't. I know what they mean though, like in terms of the draw. Like he's not the draw that De La Hoya was, but like Crawford's not Mayweather either. Like Mayweather was a bigger name.
Wait a minute. Again, you're the history guy. I'm glad you're here. You can help us out. I always just throw these things in the air and don't really know. Let's talk ticket sales. I mean, Earl did do 14,000 with Campos and then 48,000 with Mikey. He's showing he can sell. Then what he do? His tickets with Danny outsold Canelo versus Callum. So all that, he's not Oscar. Right. Are they right that he's not Oscar, or is he Oscar for this day and age?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yes, he outsold Canelo, but Canelo did have an event where like COVID restrictions and all that. But
so did Spence, brother. His pay-per-view with Danny was also COVID. It was in September. He went first. I think he went first or second. How'd it go? Was his in October?
Yeah, but I think that the venues each had different limits. I think that Spence had a larger limit than Canelo's did. I think that's where the difference is.
Yeah.
Doesn't that go to show that they expected to sell more tickets?
Oh, well, it could, or it could also be the local laws from where each fight.
They both fought in Texas.
Oh, that's right. It was in Texas, correct?
California.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You're right. Yeah, because Canelo fought.
He's special.
Yeah,
man.
you're right. It was Yildirim, the one he fought in Miami. I got
it. But once they lifted the restrictions, you saw what Canelo did in Dallas. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, who's the only guy that's gonna put Canelo to 100,000?
Now,
Errol Spence Jr. He want to sell 100,000 tickets in Dallas. He better call Earl. You better call Errol Spence.
He could, or we could say he could call Benavidez too, because that's a fight people want to see.
I don't think it does 100.
You don't think it does 100?
You tell me this. Yes, Benavidez is Mexican, but how much more popular? Not saying he's not. He was on the undercard of Earl, so we're gonna give him some respect. He was on the undercard of Earl and Mikey. I was there live. That fucking crowd was electric when the Bandera Roja walked through the audience. I was there live. It got crazy. Like that definitely was his crowd too. But how many more people know him than Billy Joe Saunders?
Okay, but you got to think of this, Ness. When you talk about Benavidez, you don't just talk about Mexican following, which is already huge within itself. You got to talk about the Ecuadorian following. You got to talk about partial Cuban following because of his mother. Ever since I've seen a shift in Benavidez following, ever since he confessed that his mom's half Cuban and half Ecuadorian and all that, it's like you look at like Ebro, which is a huge Cuban boxing channel. Now they're including Benavidez a little more in their shows. It's like his fan base is growing. And for the simple fact that everybody has qualified Benavidez as the quote unquote Canelo boogeyman at 168.
I don't listen. Fucking D-Style.
Notice
you the Mexican
I didn't
D-Style?
say that.
You Mexican
I'm saying
D-Style?
Every time I get a show involving Canelo, everybody tells me, everybody comes to my chat, talking about Benavidez, and Benavidez is the man to do it, and Benavidez this, and Benavidez is that. I'm like, I'm just going based on what I'm seeing in my own shows.
Is D-Style the current Mexican panelist today, or are you like Salvadorian? Okay, so you are. So I'll address it to you.
Yeah, I'm never not El Salvadorian, but yeah, I got you.
I'll address. No, but that's what I'm saying. I said, are you Mexican or Salvadorian? I don't know. But I'll address it to you. Benavidez will not beat Canelo.
No, I've been saying that. I've been saying that.
Well. I mean,
he squares up too much.
It depends. It depends. Like the longer Canelo waits, Canelo's gonna get old. Benavidez is only like 26, 24.
No,
he's young. Like if Canelo waits till Benavidez is 29, Canelo's gonna be like in his mid-30s, bro.
Honestly, I just don't see him ever beating Canelo. He squares up too much. When he thinks he has his prey hurt, he gets squared. Canelo will listen. Lesser men put him on his hiney already. What do you think Canelo does? Lesser men dropped him. He had a rematch with Graville. No man who has a rematch with Graville can beat Canelo. I don't know what y'all.
And not only that, Ness, because yes, Canelo's age could be a factor, right? But let's be real here. Aside from the Golovkin fight, how many times have you seen Canelo take a brutal punishment to where he's going to tell you, you know what, this kid may not last at 100% at optimal level, for the next 5 or 6 years. Canelo just doesn't take a lot of punishment.
I thought
he doesn't, but I think it's growing pains. I don't think Benavidez is the same fighter as then. I think he's getting better, and I think we'll see that. Like if Canelo's his best shot to beat him is to fight him within the next 2-3 years.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right, yo. What up, Ranger? What up, D-Style? What up, Ness?
What's up, brother?
Hey, chilling, man. Hey, listen. So the differences in that conversation right there is that Benavidez does not move his head. He does not have the head movement as Canelo. See what I'm saying? Canelo is moving his face with the punches. You know what I'm saying? He's ducking. He's dodging. He's moving with it. You know what I mean? And he's countering. He's, you know what I'm saying? He's definitely doing a lot of defense while it looks like offense. See what I'm saying? It looks like he's just being casual there, even when he's got his hands down, but he's ducking, he's dodging. His face is moving in the direction of the punches that you're throwing. See what I'm saying? Whereas David Benavidez is catching those punches. So even though I like him as a prospect, you know what I'm saying? Or not as a contender, I should say, because he is a ex-champion, so I can't even call him a prospect or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Benavidez definitely is going to be up there. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Canelo, I don't know if anybody beats him right now, man. I think that look, in a couple years, Benavidez gives him a problem, Berlanga gives him a problem, but right now, none of those names are no name at all is questionable to me when it comes to Canelo. I think he's just a superior boxer right now, and maybe in a few years we're going to see some people that their names start ringing bells like, oh, they might actually knock him out the box. You know what I mean?
Major Key, do you have headphones on?
Nah, I got the best mic in the business. This is straight up just me on my phone.
Headphones. Headphones, and turn the phone sideways, please. But also try and get some headphones, man, so we can hear you a little better, so it won't be echoey. But
hear me? Oh, my bad.
No, we hear you, but it's just obviously without headphones, it's not ideal. I got a super chat from D-Lo, 404 Boxing. It says, Oscar in one pay-per-view, one had bigger numbers than all four of them. I see EJ as the A side. What is this? I guess he meant to put IJS, the gap between Bud and Spence. I'm just saying, I guess that IJS stands for. I'm just saying the gap between Bud and Spence isn't nearly as big as Floyd and Oscar. And that's cool. I understand that argument that there is no Oscar in this equation. But someone is still ahead of the race. We have to stop, giving this man like something to stand on. He's not winning the race.
I mean, just kind of to your point, because I do agree with his point about, I still stand firm that De La Hoya was a way bigger draw than Spence is now. I don't think that's debatable, but like Floyd got what, like, wasn't that like 80-20? Like we're asking, most people think it's reasonable to get 60-40 with Spence. So I don't think anyone is saying, hey, but take 20% or take a flat fee of 10 million and shut or whatever it is. I still feel 60-40 is very ideal and very fair to Bud. And if you win, what you get, like if you really think you're better than Spence, which I do believe Bud believes, once you beat Spence, you know, now you absorb that. Like Thanos, like you absorb that now. You become, you know, the pay-per-view star. You know, that's what he's got to do.
We got a super chat here from Matt Machine Gun who says, with 2 fights left at 47, do you think Earl expects to fight Crawford 2 times, or do you think he will fight another welterweight, possibly Thurman? Yeah, it ain't gonna be Thurman the way he talk about Thurman, and with all those interviews I did with Thurman, it definitely pissed Earl off, because after I did the interview with Thurman where he was saying that Thurman didn't really call him out and Mayweather used him as a pawn, I seen an article come out with Earl saying that he thinks Thurman is a cornball. So I doubt he's going to give him the fight. I mean, again, Al is the boss. If Al believes it's right, I'm sure they'll understand that. And I would like to hope that they would understand the true economics of the business, especially coming from a dude that's made them all into multi-millionaires, right? Mm-hmm. You can't stop taking advice from the dude that put you in the position that you're in, is the way that I look at it. Like, why would
That's correct.
Why would you stop taking that advice? Somebody makes me a millionaire, I'm pretty sure I'm going to take their advice again, you know, because they helped me get to this level.
And one thing too, Ness, is like the question keeps coming up whether this fight will sell or not. There's many ways to sell this fight, not just from what we were talking about earlier. Think about it. Why not have a big Mexican name under, you know, as a co-main event, or a big British name as a co-main event? Somebody from those areas where boxing is so heavily followed. I think tricks like that can also help, you know, just sell this fight out of proportion, get big numbers.
That's the
Sometimes
thing.
pay-per-view is not just about the main event.
See, that's the thing. You and I, you know, we're boxing fans, and we believe more is better. Top Rank and a lot of promoters don't. They look at a main event like Earl and Crawford, and they look at that as a finished product. They don't think like they're not thinking like you and Don King used to. Don King would stack his undercard. See, they're looking at it like, no, why spend more money? If we gotta pay the undercard $4 million, $2 million a piece, and you know, that's how they're looking at it. They're trying to keep that end number down so that they can get a higher profit margin.
And that's why I think, and I've said this before in my show, I've said it in D-Style show, I think Don King was the Don of boxing, regardless of the wrong he did. I mean, when it came to promoter, man, come on, get out the way, man. You know that the biggest boxing cards that you know that still live in my mind. Don King was the guy behind it, because of what we just said. How it was back-to-back great fights on every event. But I do see what you're saying. Right now, it's like, let's make the product with the least amount of investment so that we can get the most amount of return on it. And unfortunately, we get what we pay for, I guess.
Yeah, man. They've been treating us foully for years now. But gentlemen, those are all the callers. I think I've gotten to all the super chat. I want to thank you, obviously, for joining me. I know,
brother. Thank you for the opportunity.
D-Style, you have a show today in about an hour and 15 minutes Eastern.
Yep.
And I believe you got some guests on.
Hey, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me on. Okay, I do have a show every Tuesday. Hispanics, Calls in Panic on D-Style Boxing. That is a channel, 9 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. And, of course, I'm on with G Funky. So Hispanics, Calls in Panic on tonight on G Funky Boxing. Just put that on the search, G Funky Boxing. And it's HCP Uncensored. We'll have Melissa Parker, man. You know, tonight it's going to be interesting. Can't wait to talk to her. She had a lot of things to say on Twitter, so even about Amanda Serrano and stuff like that. So I want to ask her about some of those things, and
she's
I can't wait for that.
Fighting a girl, common opponent with Serrano, Cindy, and Amanda, and Michaela Mayer. So she better watch what she got to say, because she's gonna have a common opponent now for that performance to be out there.
Well, it tells me she's confident. That's what she tells me. She's really confident.
She is. I actually interviewed her today, bro. She is confident, but I was at her last fight, and it's like I told her live today. I didn't want to see her take that many shots, and she blamed it on strength and conditioning for the last fight, and she believes that she's in better conditioning for this fight. I actually did see her running like sand dune mountains out here in Tampa, so hopefully she's in shape because she's got an IBO title shot. Shout out to Ed Levine of the IBO. Always hooking up TBV. But yeah, man, gentlemen, don't forget to give up those YouTube channels. Let everybody know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you for having me, Ness. Anybody that wants to follow me, Raw Boxing TV, all together. Raw Boxing TV on Instagram, Twitter, same thing as YouTube. And yeah, man, as far as the show goes, because of my job involved me being in different places of the nation, I never know where I'm going to be at. My shows are pretty much random throughout the week. But
he's a traveler, bro. He might as well be a gypsy. That's why he's a Tyson Fury fan.
Wow.
I love Tyson Fury.
All right, gentlemen, if you got to jump off, go ahead. I just got a late caller in Cincinnati. Brandon, talk to us.
I'll hang around.
Hey, whole nother time zone. Jumped up from back with our mind on. Can't play when you here, get your life stole. If you bring it here, then the price grow. Folks jabbing and punching the line long. I drop a pigeon, let 9 go. We slap with the thick glass and white go. This only happens in Ohio.
Yo, Ness, what's good?
What up?
Yeah, shout out to you. Shout out to D Styles. I've seen him around on the YouTube boxing community. I can't really remember where. And I forget the brother from Louisville that live in Louisville. What's his name? Boxing Raw?
Raw Boxing TV.
Raw Box TV. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to Louisville. That's like my second home. I'll be down there all the time for work and shit. But yeah, man, I like what Errol's saying, man. I mean, he ain't saying nothing wrong. I like what he's saying. I don't think you're going to have to cross the street to get this fight. I don't even think you're going to have to worry about negotiating with Bob Bam to get this fight. Because I think by the time this shit, comes to fruition, Terence will hopefully either be on PBC or damn near PBC. Because,
what if
like
he
I
signed
said
to
before,
Eddie, though?
I hope he don't do that. No, I hope he don't do that, man. I hope he don't. Like I said before, though, Ness, I don't want him to fight for top rank ever again. Bob Arum named 3 possible fights for October. All of them was
did he?
Underwhelming.
Which ones? I didn't even hear it. That's how bad they were. What was the names he used?
The best name he said was Prograis, but he said Prograis.
Regis.
Fucking Ramirez coming off the loss to Taylor and Jose Cepeda. So I don't want my boy. I'm like Capo of the Bud Tenders. I don't want him to fight.
So he really about to give him 3 dudes that all got to move up.
That's what he said, man. That's what he said. I told you.
Bob out here destroying careers, man. One word at a time. He destroying careers.
Yeah, I don't want him to fight for top rank ever again, bro.
Oh my.
Bob just he ain't it, man. But yeah, man, Errol, shout out to Errol, man. Make it happen. Keep the negotiations behind closed doors. That way ego's gonna get involved, and hopefully we get this fight in the near future. You know who I'm rolling with. Bud's gonna beat the shit out of that boy. But that's my call, man. Take it easy. Shout out to both of y'all.
All right.
Thanks, man.
C-Dog, I see you on the line in the Bay. Let me know if you're rocking out. You haven't pressed 1. But yeah, man, that is hilarious. We got a super chat from Punch Boxing. De lo mío, calauca. He says Hispanics causing panic in the building. Dímelo, mi hermanos. Ness and the crew, keep cooking. You already know we rocking out. D-Lo going once. Right? Am I saying this right? No, C-Dog. C-Dog going once. Oh, that's why you're not C-Dog. Hold up. I said, hold up. Wait, I meant D-Lac. D-Lac, you haven't pressed 1. Everybody in the Bay is either D, C, D-H.
And they got their little abbreviations.
Yeah. All right, so no D-Lac, man. So we are officially done. Raw Boxing TV, give out that YouTube channel one more time, man. People are hard-headed. Oh, now.
Yeah, man. Raw Boxing TV. That's RAW Boxing TV all together. And same thing on my social media, whether it's Twitter or Instagram, man. And Ness, again, thank you for having me here, brother.
Oh, no problem. Look, D-Lac finally decided to press 1, right? Is it D-Lac? Let me see. It is D-Lac. What up? In the bay.
What up, Ness?
How you doing?
What up, Ness, man? I'm just listening, man. Hey, I appreciate you out there doing that road work, man. That's it. You just giving me material for my work day, man. That's all.
Oh, I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate everything you doing, bro. That's it. I ain't got nothing else, Mo.
All right, brother. Thank you. I see Texas jumping on the line, man. Talk to us before we get up out of here. Looking like San Antonio. You haven't pressed 1. Who is this? Is actually Young Tigre. You talking or you just listening? We rock. We finishing up. Going once. 2 times. You ain't pressed 1. We out. Raw Boxing. You said you're.
We out, brother.
All
We
right.
good.
Catch us on the next one. Peace.